Welcome to another edition of Beginner Breakdown. I am Mike Kummer after a long hiatus due to the very successful Sinquefield Cup. It had a prize fund of $315,000 and the winner, Fabiano Cariano, got $100,000. We will not be going over any of their games today because I didn't even understand half the stuff that was going on. But today we got some simpler games from a simpler men. We have a game that I played with the white pieces against amateur Tim Baur, okay? And I had the white pieces, all right? So I start out pawn to e4. You following along, Jared? Good. All right, pawn to e4. All right, and now black plays knight to c6. All right, so I've been telling you guys if they're not attacking this e-pawn or didn't play like e5 or e4 or c5 or e5 to attack this d4 square, that you know, maybe we should go ahead and play d4 in this position, okay? But if we play d4 in this position, what move do you think black's going to play here? E5. E5? Okay, if they play e5 here, which is not the main line, you can play d5, and then you're looking pretty cool. You know what the main move in this position is? F5. Okay, F5. F5, if they play F5, I'd probably just take it. I feel pretty good because now I'm threatening queen to h5 check. And like if you play this move, look at queen to h5 check, g6, pawn takes, checkmate. So yeah, if you've been following our lectures, you don't really want to move that f pawn. f6 is really bad, but f5 can be just as harmful sometimes. All right, so we try f5 and e5.
It's got to be d5.
It's got to be d5, right. It's got to be d5. Good. And d5, that way if we take, queen takes, if we like play knight to c3 to shoo the queen away, guess what? We just lost our pawn. Okay? So, very interesting. Okay, so now, he just played knight to c6. The last thing we want him to do is to play d5 here. Okay? So what move can we make to prevent d5? Yvonne, why don't you come up so you can see, right? Yeah, awesome. Say hi to the camera. All right. All right, Yvonne's in the class. Now we know we got a fearsome foursome here, okay? All right, so let's make a move that prevents black from playing d5 without serious repercussions, as in losing the pawn.
Knight to c3.
Excellent. Okay, knight to c3. All right. We don't want him to play d5. Okay. So he's like, I want to play d5. Okay. So he plays e6, preparing d5. But then we're like, okay, I know you want to play d5. And I still don't want to let you play d5. So what move should we make?
Bishop to c4.
Yeah, bishop to c4. See, we're getting our pieces, minor pieces, the bishops and the knights, off the back row with a purpose. We're not just throwing them out there just like, oh, I'm developing, okay? We're actually fighting for squares, control of this d5 square, okay? Now he's like, I really want to play d5. Let me play d5 already. So he plays knight f6, okay? All right, so now it's like, geez, this pawn's doing everything he can to stop d5. This bishop's doing everything he can to stop d5, and so is the knight. So somebody's got to get in there, because if we play like knight f3 or something random, he can just play d5, right? And we don't want him to play d5. So what move could we possibly do? We got to get another piece in there to stop d5. Any ideas, Yvonne? E3. Well, E3 is illegal, but D3, if you play D3, unfortunately, he can play D5 then. And you see he's got 1, 2, 3 defenders. And we only got 1, 2, say it wouldn't work. He's got just as many defenders as we have attackers. So he's aces. Okay, so we need one more guy.
Play queen to F3.
All right, queen F3. It won't even let you. It's like it's like because yeah. All right, queen F3. I was thinking about it. But now fork. Who can see a fork? Oh, I'll take that as knight E5. All right, so knight E5. Oh man, I'm forked. That's not cool. Knight to E2. Unfortunately, it still lets him play D5. But so you're on the right track with the queen. But queen to E2. Because now if he plays D5, watch what happens. Pawn takes. Oh, I can't take like that. And now he's mad because this pawn is in an absolute pin. Okay? He can't move off the file. I mean, he could play E5 if he wanted. In fact, I would make him play E5 because he touched it. All right? You touch the pawn, you got to move it. All right? So you got to play E5. And then we would attack it. But that's besides the point. Okay? So queen to E2. All right, so now he attacks. So he doesn't play D5 because he can't, all right, because I would just take it for free. So he plays knight to D4, attacking my queen, okay? So my queen's attacked. And what else is he attacking besides my queen?
Knight takes C2.
Knight takes C2, check, fork, yeah. All right, scary. So should I be a little baby and go back to D1? No, that's not fun. No. So queen to D3, attack the knight, okay? All right, so now he develops his bishop with a purpose, protecting my knight, all right? So let's just get rid of this knight, all right? So he gets the check, and queen takes F3, okay? All right, so now, can he play D5 in this position? No, he still can't because we got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys on this, and he's only got 3. So after all this hard work, he still can't play D5. All right, so look what move he makes. All right, boom, D6. A puny move by a puny man, D6, all right? So we prevented D5, and we won the opening, okay? So we're aces, all right? So now we play knight A4, trade this knight for his bishop, get rid of his bishop pair. He decides not to move it back. He plays queen to E7, so we just take it, right? And now we give him double pawns, all right? Double pawns are weaker than normal pawns for obvious reasons, okay? So now we castle, so it's move 10. We're doing pretty good. We give him double pawns, we're castled. Is it possible for him to play D5? So we're good. So he plays E5 because he wants to get his bishop active, okay? So we want to get our bishop active. So do you think we should play B3 or D3? Or does it even matter?
I think it should be B3.
B3. So if we play B3, our bishop would go onto a B2. I decide with D3, I can pin the knight. So that's why I choose D3. But you've got to get this bishop out of there, okay? All right, feel free to come in and take a seat, okay? So now, Tim plays bishop to E6 here, okay? So he wants to trade bishops here, okay? So if you look at his pawns here, do they look pretty good to anybody? No. So should I let Tim do take my bishop and make my pawns look like that? No. No, obviously not. Okay, so what move should I make then if I don't want my pawns looking like his weak pawns?
Bishop to B3.
Okay, so Jared suggests bishop to B3. Okay, so with bishop to B3, let's assume he comes down and takes it, and then we take with our A pawn. Okay, so now we've opened up the A file, and our rook is looking pretty good. But what move could black make to neutralize the strength of this rook here? Because this rook looks pretty good, pretty active. But there's a very simple move by black to just like, it doesn't really matter that your rook's on the A file. Yeah, just play A6. And then this rook doesn't look as strong anymore. And look at our pawns. Do they look very strong? No. We'd rather have them all just, you know, nice, connected, and together instead of doubled, okay? So what move should we play as white in this position? Yes, Yvonne? Yeah, just take the bishop, okay? Because we don't want, you know, our pawns to be messed up when they don't have to be, okay? We'll have them all nice and connected. Okay, look at that. One big pawn island. Okay. So we're looking pretty good here. So we bring our bishop out to attack the knight. And now he attacks it. So now we capture the knight. And he gets double pawns now. Okay? But these double pawns aren't as bad as these double pawns, because now black has the G file open, okay? And our king, our $9 billion point piece, okay, is sitting on the G file. So it's kind of scary that this rook's coming in and threatening the G file, okay? So we'll just have to keep an eye on that, okay? All right, queen to E3. Can anybody tell me why I probably made that move? I'm attacking two pawns, right? Fork, yeah. But this one's already protected, so all he has to do is protect this. That is not, well, I guess it is a tactic because it was a fork. But it's pretty easy for him to stop this. All he has to do is move his queen. So now he made a dual-purpose move here with this queen, and that's good. He had protected the pawn, and now he's attacking a pawn. But as you'll see with my next move, F4, I totally ignored his threat. Because if he takes here, this is very, very dangerous for your queen to be taking this pawn. Not just in this variation, but just in general. Because what move do you think I'm going to make for a follow-up here? Well, I probably would play queen takes. But an idea is I'll move my rook here, you'll take, and then I'll get my rook up here, and I'll be causing some havoc for you up there, okay? So just watch out when you take a B pawn with your queen, it could be poisoned, okay? So I play F4, I'm trying to open some lines for my rooks. Like that's one downfall of having all your pawns all nice in a row, is there's no open files for your rooks to play. And they have to get out. Because look at my rooks. They're really not doing much, right? So I have to create open lines for them to play. Okay? So F4, he wisely doesn't take it. Taking would be a catastrophe for him, because after I take, look how active my queen is, okay? And look how bad his pawns are, okay? So he ignores it, and he gets his rook on an open file, on this G line, okay? The G file. So he's on the same line as my king, putting this pawn in a pin. See, I could never capture anything on h3 or f3 with this pawn because it's in a pin. It's protecting my king. All right, so I play f5 and kind of neutralize the threat there, okay? So he brings his pawn out of danger with h5. So now I'm looking for ideas. So now I decide I'm going to play rook to b1 and not let his queen come down and take my pawn. Okay? So black castles. All right. So a natural move, a follow-up to rook to b1. All your moves should have some kind of rhythm and plan in place. So a natural follow-up from rook to b1 would be the move b4. Okay? I'm not afraid of pawn takes because then I would take, giving him temporarily triple pawns, but I would take right back. And this would be an advantage endgame for white because he's got this isolated pawns, he's got this set of double pawns and this set of double pawns. Well, I have one big pawn island and then this pawn island, this isolated pawn, okay? So white would be have the advantage, okay? All right, so b4, he sees that, and everybody knows why queen takes pawn was bad, because the rook would take it. So he decides to be kind of funny here and play rook to d4, okay? So he's threatening my pawn. Okay, so I think I see a great move. And hopefully you guys think you see a great move too. But then we'll have to look a little further. So can anybody think what they think is a good move here that I thought was a good move? Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
the queen to h3 attacking the pawn on h5 and
Okay, so we'll briefly go over this. This is what Grandmaster Ben Feingold likes to say. I'm too old for this stuff, okay? He's paraphrasing Danny Glover, I think, okay? It's just like, come on. It's like, this is crazy then. Take. Who knows what's going on? I don't know what's going on. It's just craziness, okay? There's a lot to calculate, a lot of trades, and it's just like...
Play c3?
Yeah, so I play c3, okay? So this is when psychology kind of comes into chess as well, okay? Like, Jared, you probably thought c3 is a great move, right? I think c3 is a great move. I played c3, I leaned back a little, I'm like, I'm the best, okay? Like, because look what c3 did. It attacked this rook, and it protected this pawn. So we can't play rook takes pawn like he wants to now, okay? So my opponent, like in the game, he's like, oh man, you're good. I'm just going to retreat back to d8, okay? I'll give a gold star to anybody who can find the refutation to this move c3, because it looks really good. I thought it was good. I played it in the move. That's how good I thought it was. So what does so there's a tactic here. If you look for your captures and your checks, you may be able to find c3. This is why I say never play f6 like all the time, right? Never play f6. Now obviously f6 wasn't played in this game, but f4 was, okay? So notice that my king is on this diagonal with the queen, rook, pawn, and queen, and there's no f pawn, right?
Oh, play rook takes d3.
Right. Rook takes d3, all right? So now the queen is under attack, and everybody's like, oh, It looks like a free rook. Looks like a free rook. But then what does black do to win the queen?
C4 check.
Yes. C4 check. And now my queen is hanging. And if I go anywhere to block it, it'll get captured. Makes sense? So, don't feel bad if you didn't find it. I played C3 and I thought I was the man, okay? And luckily he did too, because he went, oh, I guess I'll just go back to D8, okay? So but you got to look for tactics all the time. So now, I have 2 players on this pawn, and he only has 1 defender. So I better capture it. But I better get it right how I capture it. So I could capture with the pawn or with the queen. What happens if I take it with the queen? What's the downside of capturing this with the queen? Okay. Okay. Good. So you calculated 1 move. Okay? So let's just calculate 2 moves now. Okay, I would be. I would be. So just look a little more. So you see queen takes queen check. So now what's white's response going to be? All right, and now everybody hold on tight. And now what would black's next move be then? Just look a little bit deeper in the position.
E6.
All right, just look for your captures and your checks. Everybody hang tight. So is there anything that black can capture in this position? D3, yeah. And then that would be, this would look pretty good. And then we would try to just envision that, just think a little bit more. And then that would be pretty bad for white. You see, this pawn is really weak. These pawns are just horrible. And this pawn ain't nothing to brag about either, okay? So white would be going down, okay? So after rook to d8, now we know, hey, we don't want to take with the queen or else that bad stuff will happen. So by default, we have to take with the pawn. All right, so now he plays queen to a6, fork. So you see how the queen, a mobile queen on an open board, you want to be attacking more than one thing, okay? Get the most bang for your buck out of your move. So he's attacking this pawn and this pawn. I can't save them both. I wish I could, but I can't. So I got to let one go. So should I let that pawn go? No. Yeah, no, yeah, good. See how much different it looks? I'd rather save this pawn because he's holding everything together. Yes?
You can save both by the queen to d7, d2.
All right, if I play queen to d2, so the funny thing is that he was my one and only defender on d3, and he still is. So I didn't add anybody to protecting d3. You see what I'm saying? So I would need like my rook to jump like boom, boom, like a knight, okay, and protect both. But he can't. So he can just do this and then hope, hope really hard that he doesn't take this pawn. And I guess all my hoping paid off, okay? So he plays king to b8. Why? I don't know, okay? So now I can play rook up and protect this pawn, okay? He really should have taken his pawn when he had the chance. All right, so now he plays c6. So now I bring my rook over, protect the pawn again. So now he attacks this pawn. So there's a really cool way I can defend this pawn. D4, yeah. See, the queen protects it. Okay. So when somebody pushes a pawn, and though this is a radical idea, okay, it looks like he's just pushing it to take my pawn, right? To capture. What other move is this pawn threatening to make? besides pawn takes e5? Yes.
Create open file for the
Right? Okay, yes, pawn takes e5, yes. Yes, a lot of people get in the mindset, closed mindset, that he played d4 to take my pawn. That's all he's trying to do. Yes.
He opens the file for the rook.
I know, okay. Okay, is he threatening anything else? But yes, I see what you, all right. So he's threatening pawn takes e5, true. Is he threatening anything else? D5, yes. You always have to look. Just because they played a pawn move, even if it's attacking something, they may have played it for an ulterior motive. They may have played it to push and push and push, okay? So always keep that in the back of your head. Because a lot of people think, oh, he's just, but look, let's just say he played a6 or something, okay? All right, first of all, pawn takes, true, it opens this file up, okay? But take a look at this. Now black's pawns look great, right? They're not doubled. And look at my pawns. Without that D pawn, these pawns look like mush, huh? Not too good. All right. So after queen to c7, now instead of taking, I push the pawn. And if he takes, which he does, I just created a passed pawn. A passed pawn is a pawn that no pawns can get in front of or on adjacent files where they can capture them. So it's passed. Only now one of his other pieces like a king, rook, knight have to get behind it to stop it, okay? Obviously he doesn't want to do that. Okay, so now I got passed pawn, but true, he's got a passed pawn too, but mine look a lot more dangerous than his. All right, so now he wants his king to come over and try to stop these pawns. Good luck, okay? All right, so passed pawns are meant to be pushed, all right? When you have passed pawns, get them going. Don't want to just hold them on forever. Let's get them going. Okay, queen to c6. So, very interesting. He's aiming at g2. Okay, so if I move my rook, it could be danger. It could be lights out for me, okay? All right, this rook is the only guy stopping checkmate here. So what's a funny move I can make with this rook here? I could play there, but that's not very funny. What? Rook to d5, right. That's kind of funny. Rook to d5, all right. So it basically puts the rook in a pin, okay? I only did it because he did it earlier, and I kind of, so it's kind of like homage to him, okay? So rook up there. So now rook attacks the pawn. So I should really protect that pawn, but I get too preoccupied with something else. So I play rook here, just over protecting the checkmate now, okay? So he takes it, okay? But now I get a tactic. It's not a good tactic, but it is a tactic. What tactic can I play here that coincides with the move rook takes f5?
Queen to h3.
Queen to h3. Pin. Very good. Absolute pin. So what's the only move black should even consider playing in this position? Right, yeah. And everything else loses. Okay, queen to d7. Breaks the pin and defends the rook. Awesome. All right. All right. So now I have to watch out for moves like rook to f1 check. Eventually. Not right now, though, but eventually. I should be scared. I should be thinking about that, though, right now. I should know, oh, my God, if he plays rook to f1 check, he can trade queens or something. So I better keep this g-pawn around, okay, or something. All right. So I just bring my rook over there, whatever. All right. So he plays rook to G8. Now, if I wasn't thinking about rook to F1 check earlier, I might not have saw, oh my God, he's threatening this now. What's so great about if I play A4 or something? What's so good about rook to F1 check here? Nothing. Right? Nothing. Why doesn't this work for white or for black? Because king takes and I'm no longer in the pin. Yay. So I'm like, I don't care. So I just play C4. All right. Now he's like, I'm going to make you care about that. All right, rook to G5. All right. So now things are getting exciting. All right. So I swing my queen over. I get out of all this shenanigans. And I'm threatening this pawn. But look, he's got a queen here. All right. So king to B8. Never a good idea to walk into a file with that all your opponent's major pieces are on. Because now what did you just do to this pawn? You pinned it. Yeah, you just pinned it. And what did we do to pin pieces? Yes. Yeah, good job, Yvonne. Yeah, we attack them. So let's do it. You ready to attack the queen? Attack the pin piece? C6. All right. So now we sacrifice the pawn. And now how do we finish black off here?
E7.
E7. And the only way to stop, rook up. So let's get a queen while we can. So takes, check. All right, so now we got to be really careful here, believe it or not, for white. Because black has some tricks of his own. What if we just say, hey, let's double our rooks on the D file? That looks like a natural move, right? What would black do, even though he's down a whole rook here? How would he just humiliate white here? Yes?
Queen to C5.
Queen to C5, check. Excellent. Okay? Because if we retreat our king to H1, back row checkmate, very good. If we play rook here, queen takes, and then we're done. And so the best move for white actually is rook here. And now he's got a pass pawn, and now he's winning all of a sudden. Okay? So we got to be really careful. Even though we're up a lot of material, it's no time to relax, okay? So luckily, instead of playing that rook over, we brought our rook down to protect, okay? So now queen to C5 really doesn't have the same bite. Queen to C5 check. We don't want to go to H1 because we'll still get back row checkmated, but we're going to just swing our rook over and we'll be fine, okay? So after E4, now let's try to finish them off, okay? Because I know we're up, but we got to get this thing going. We got to checkmate them. So the only check for white, G3, right? So we might as well play it. So he retreats back to C8. What's a check we see for white again? Anybody? Yvonne? Queen to G8 check. Don't be too excited about it, okay? You're just trying to secure a win here. All right. King to C7. Yeah. Oh, no.
Queen to D8 checkmate.
Queen to D8. Yeah, when you get a check, when you see a checkmate, go for it. Okay? And that would be a checkmate, all right? We got time for one more quick game. And it's a doozy, that's for sure. Okay? So this was played in our Monday night series, Neil against Greg. Neil had the white pieces, okay? And now we'll see once again where a pawn moves and he might just want to advance it, so keep it in mind, okay? All right, so pawn to e4, black plays e5, all right? So knight f3 attacks the pawn, knight c6 protects it. Everybody should know this basic opening. Bishop to c4. So black decides he's going to play queen to e7, okay? So that's not recommended. So knight to c3. All right. So now he gets knight f6 in, all right? So after white castles, d6, okay? So now the infamous d4. So he's threatening pawn takes, but also possibly d5, okay? So what do you think the worst move for black is in this position? Well, there's a couple. But what's a really bad move? Like knight takes, I mean, that's bad. Well, what's, yeah. Queen to e6, yeah, that's pretty bad. Also, well, yeah, queen to e6 is really bad because a bishop would take. But also, bishop to e6 is pretty bad. You never want to put your minor pieces, you know, on the same rank right next to, you know, one file apart. Because what does that allow now? The fork, yeah, the pawn fork, d5, okay? It's like, come on, haven't you seen this before? It's not cool to be pawn forked because it's so easily avoidable. If you're still getting pawn forked after you play 200 games of chess, you should really think about this, okay? It's like, if you ask yourself, why do I keep getting pawn forked? It's like, you know, you should think about it. Okay. All right, so he's like, I tricked you, actually, with the move knight a5. Okay. So this is what you want to do when you're in a bind like black was. You want to try to create a threat greater or equal to your opponent's. Okay, and he did, right? My minor pieces were under attack, so I'm going to attack one of your minor pieces, okay? So should white just say, well, all right, well, I'll just take and check, and then whatever, we're even. Or should we be more ambitious? Hopefully, we want to be more ambitious, right?
You can check the king.
Okay, you could check the king. Let's see if that works. c6. Uh-oh. Now our bishop is really under attack. Or he could be even funnier. Well, maybe he could be even funnier and just play bishop back. And now both his pieces are, you know, out of that vicious pawn fork. But good try, because we created a threat, you know, greater as well. But he was able to get out of it, okay? But bishop to b5, if we really dig in deep, it might still be okay. So does anybody have a way out of this?
You put knight to b5 and no.
So knight to b5 would just be trading pieces. Knight b5, knight takes, pawn takes. Yes?
Bishop down to b3.
The b3, okay. So then it's like, boom. We probably want to take it back, right? And the bishop to e7. Okay, so he's out of the pawn fork. So look at what we got. We just played d5. Like, we just pawn forked you. And now he played knight a5 thinking he's tricking us. So bishop to b3 doesn't work because we can trade it out. Bishop to b5 check doesn't work because the bishop can retreat. Has anybody ever heard the expression knights on the rim or grim? Okay, that's good. Okay. Well, the reason why is because grim, it means you have a very dark future. It's like you got no hope. You're done. You're in a black hole. Where can that knight go?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. That's the correct answer. He can go nowhere, except for c4, right?
So you just move the bishop and trap the knight?
Excellent. Retreat the bishop to e2, and now he's got to save his bishop, right? So he's like, okay, I saved my bishop. But now what do we do to win that piece? B4, excellent. And now the knight has nowhere to go. He's got a grim existence, okay? So he just goes back. And now we take, bishop takes. So now he's got two guys on our pawn. We protect it. So now he decides to get a kingside attack rolling, okay? Knight to there. All right. You think we're afraid of this kingside attack right now? Anybody? Afraid? No. We can just do our own thing. b5, bishop back. Knight attacks the queen, so he moves it back. All right, so we solidify our post. And now black plays the unusual move, knight takes h2. Okay? So is that a good idea for black to be sacrificing pieces to get at our king at this moment? No. The reason is because all his other people are just sitting on the back row doing nothing. They're not really in a position to really check the king and do him any danger. He actually does take with the king because he's not afraid of queen check because the knight would take it. So when you're down material and nobody is around your king, that's not a good time to sacrifice pieces. All right, so now he gets a little steam going here. So g5, continuing with his big attack. So knight f6 check. King there. Bishop takes. And now h6. Now it's time to put down the hammer here, okay? So, check. All right. Well, you have a lot of checks. You don't even realize how many checks you have, I bet. Do you have any idea how many checks you have? So when you say check, it could be one of like 8 checks right now. Knight to d5, check. That's the best one. The second best one is knight to g8 check. But knight to d5 check is the best, okay, because it's a double check. And when a king's in a double check, the only way he can get out of a double check is to move his king, right? Because if he captures one thing, he's still in the check from the other thing, right? If he blocks one check with the infamous f6, he's still in the other check. So he's got to move his king. All right, and then boink, we got your queen. And now this is the only time white messes up in the game. He's got a mate in 3. And he misses it. So can anybody do better than Neil here and find the mate in 3? Queen to f7. We might be onto something. We might be onto something. All right, whatever. I'll move my king there. Very good. Checkmate. All right. All right, so he plays queen to f5 check. King back. All right, so he plays queen there. And so he just brings, so he gets the rook, c6, gets the other rook, gets the queen, gets the bishop, and it's pretty much falling apart for him. And king to g1, threatening rook takes pawn. He can't do really anything about it. So after rook takes pawn check, the only move he could play now is f6. And how would we finish black off here?
King to
Not quite.
Oh, no.
Because he's actually got 2 ways out now. So let's not do that.
Oh, rook takes f6, checkmate.
Yep.
No, not checkmate, but
Well, it's not close enough. You got to seal the deal. When you're at the end of a game, a gentleman should be rushing. You know, think about football players when they're about to win a game, right? They're like, yeah. All right. That's how you got to be. It's like, oh, close enough. No, it's not close enough. Let's finish them.
Queen d6.
Queen d6. All right, that's looking pretty good.
rook to f8.
Rook to f8. Yeah, it doesn't matter if I go here. Rook f8 still will seal the deal. Okay? Cool. All right, good job tonight, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh.